build around these today. Geomag Stabilizers, damaging targets with your Chaos Reach, extends its duration, and this is what you're going to be able to do with this build. You're going to be able to do loads of extra damage with your super, and on top of that you're going to create loads of orbs and get massive chunks of your super energy back. Stay tuned, I'll show you everything. Calling all Warlocks, I have got a really nice build for you today. You lucky Guardians. I'm going to show you how to be a walking orb machine, blind everything in our path, get insanely fast supers, and cause absolute carnage with your Chaos Reach. And the Geomag Stabilizers build, I did this a couple of weeks before the season come out, the old energy converter build, but I'm just going to concentrate on how many orbs we're creating at the moment. Just in that clip there I created about 10. I did this Spark of Amplitude, rapidly defeating targets while you are amplified creates an orb of power, so there's one way, and as you know with Arc 3.0 we can get amplified really easily. We've got other ways we can get orbs as well with our Arc siphon mods for our Arc weapons, and we can also run Kinetic siphon mods which also create orbs. If you're just running Kinetic weapons, something like Outbreak or Bad Juju, which is going to enhance our super even more. Absolutely nuts. So we've got loads of different ways to create orbs. It works with plenty of different weapons: Thunderlord, Forbearance, Trinity Ghoul, standard Arc auto rifles, you name it, it's going to work perfectly for it. Really strong, creating loads of orbs, getting our supers back really fast, and then on top of that we can blind things with this here, Spark of Beacons. While you are amplified, your Arc weapon final blows create a blinding explosion. So like I said, we're going to be creating orbs everywhere, ionic traces everywhere, orbs everywhere, and blind everything in our path. And then on top of that, another way that you can create a crazy amount of orbs is with the super itself, and as you've seen, you're going to get loads of orbs, so you're going to get that super back really quickly. And then I can sort of hear the questions now, why do you want all these orbs? I'll show you why. Look at this, bottom left, how much super do you get back? It's a little build. I'm going to show you how to get an enhanced super, get a good quarter of your super back before you even start. Stay tuned, because you're going to love this build, I promise you. So now I'm going to show you the mods that's required to get your ×5 chargeable light, and all it's based around is this one here, energy converter. This is how you get your massive super gains back and that big chunk of energy. While you are charged with light, using your grenade attack grants you super energy, consuming all stacks of charged with light. The more stacks you have, the more energy you gain, up to a maximum of 50% of your super energy. But the trick is with this one is not to use it once your super bar is above like 30-40%. What you need to do is use this one when it's quite low, so under like 30-35%, otherwise it won't work. So we need to get ×5 chargeable light to get the best out of this. So I'm going to show you some mods that you need now to get the best way to get sort of ×5. Taking charge is one of them. Becoming charged with light by picking up an orb of power, which obviously works with the Kinetic mods really nicely, but that's only going to give us a maximum of 2. So what we do is we'll run this one here, charged up, allows for an additional chargeable light, so we can get ×3 with this one, ×3 chargeable light, but we'll still need a few more. So what you do is you put this one on supercharged, that gives you an additional 2 stacks of chargeable light, so you can go up to 5 times chargeable light. So we're having to pick up 5 orbs to get 5 times chargeable light. But in certain situations that can be a little bit painful sometimes in certain situations. So what we can do is we can add this one, stacks on stacks, gaining an extra stack of chargeable light for every stack you gain. So every time you pick up 1 orb of light, it's going to give you 2 chargeable light. So it's really nice little mod. It does knock on your recovery a little bit by 10, but it's worth it. So we only have to really pick up 3 orbs of power here to get 5 times chargeable light with this mod. So it works really nicely together, which obviously works really nicely with the Kinetic and Arc siphon mods, or whatever siphon mod you're using. And then on top of that, it's going to really get the most out with this one, Spark of Beacons, which you've already seen. So that's the setup. I'm going to show you some more clips now of the super and how good it still is. So now this is everything working together, and you're going to see now how fast you can actually get this super back. Granted, there's already a few orbs on the floor created, but you still created via this build. So as you can see there, I've got no super, and I'm going to throw my grenade, and that's instantly giving you a massive sort of boost straight away. So it's really nice. and then on top of that I'm going to create loads of orbs like you've already seen, and take into account we've got the chargeable light ×5 there already. Look at my super, I'm not far off already, so it's really strong. And again I've got my ×5 chargeable light, so it's like a cycle. You can just recycle that sort of setup, use that, and you can go again and you're absolutely flying. Even if you don't get your full super back, it's giving you a huge chunk. And I just want to say in this as well, I'm only running quite low intellect. And then obviously the super, it's still quite good. I love it personally. Geomag build, makes the chaos reach, do loads of damage, and makes it last for a very long time. If they ever revert changes to the Geomags, which they could do in the future, I think this is one build what you're really going to sort of go back to. Well, I still use this anyway regardless. I still love it, it's really good. I'd probably say the strong point is like loads of like sort of yellow bar ads at a time, and then it also does decent damage against bosses. The two mods you can run is Thunderous Retort, which will enhance it, grants bonus arc super damage when you are wounded or you've already seen Sundering Glare from a distance. That's another one you can run also, so you got a nice choice. I've already showed you at the beginning Sundering Glare, but I'll just go back over it again. So Sundering Glare, 40 meters away, it's going to debuff the enemy by 20%, and you just get yellow numbers everywhere like so. So there's an option. And then the Thunderous Retort one, that gives you bonus arc super damage while you're amplified or while you're critically low. And then with this build you are always amplified, so you can use whichever one you sort of fancy. Both solid, and this is like crazy. I was running this last night in the Master Wellspring, and the orbs I was creating and the ads I was clearing was just disgusting. I was clearing loads of enemies at a time, creating basically infinite orbs for your teammates, and you were able to keep that cycle going all of the time. Absolutely loving it. Really strong. And like I said, if they ever revert these changes to Geomags, which they very well could do, then this build is going to be back to right at the top of the pile. Trust me, it'll be absolutely insane. And then just going back to the actual setup with regards to the energy converter, I think that's why they actually reverted these Geomags. They changed the Geomags because of this build, like, if I'm honest, because it was not long after they brought the energy converter mod out that they nerfed Geomags, and this is the reason why, because of how fast you can get your supers. Anyways, I'm going to finish off with the fragments that I'm running and the aspects on my arc subclass. I hope it's been good. So this is now the full setup I'm running. To start, you don't have to listen to this bit if you want. I'll leave a dim link in the video description, so you can just copy and paste the dim link and it will load this build onto your character, and that's via the app and website, which is absolutely fantastic. Dim Destiny Inventory Manager, really good. Like I said, it'll just copy this build via the link onto your Destiny 2 character. Absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend if you're not using it, get on Dim. Fantastic. Arc Soul, and I also run Electrostatic Man. These two work perfectly together with this build because you're always jolting and you're always getting the ionic traces. Storm Grenade, any grenade you want really. I like Storm Grenade, but you can run Arc Bolt or whatever, or Flashbang, Chain Lightning, Melee, your Bear's Glad, whatever you tickles your fancy. And then Healing Rift, Spark of Beacons I run, and then I run Spark of Shock, Spark of Amplitude, and Spark of Discharge. I found this particular setup the best. Spark Beacons, that's the blinding effects. Spark of Shock, where you can jolt your enemies consistently with your arc grenades, and then Spark of Amplitude, and then Spark of Discharge. So basically what I want to touch on is Spark of Amplitude. That actually works with your Arc Souls, so you can create orbs as well with your Arc Souls, which just adds to it. Now weapons, Outbreak, something like that. If you're lucky enough, you can run Touch of Malice or any other sort of primary. That's going to work really well with your Kinetic Siphon mod with a Horde. And then Bad Juju is another one that works really nicely, and it works with all special weapons. Anything from to grenade launchers. Forbearance is absolutely insane for this with Chain Reaction. Midas Reckoning, something like that. The Glaive, or even like an arc shotgun, arc sidearm, it's all going to work perfectly with it. And then obviously you've also got weapons like Thunderlord, which you've already seen. So that's the build, that's the setup. I do hope the explanation and video was good, and I hope you have a great day.